Hey guys, so today we're going to be examining and analyzing basically just the structure and organization that exists within the United States Senate. It's going to be somewhat similar to the notes that we did, or the notes that you should have done for your e-learning on the House of Representatives. So go ahead if you're at home. You are going to want to title your notes for today simply the Senate, okay? And there are going to be three different quote unquote subtopics that we're going to discuss within the Senate itself. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So the first thing we're going to look at with the Senate is the overall basic information, the things that at the end of the day, when you graduate, like these are the things that as a United States citizen, you need to know these, okay? To be a quote unquote participant within your Democratic Republic. So the first thing we need to know about the Senate, if you're a senator, or if you're voting for a senator, you need to understand that that senator has a 6-year term. Very different from the House when we looked at where the House of Representatives only has a 2-year term. The Senate here has a 6-year term. Now, rather than electing senators and then just waiting 6 years to elect all of them, rather than doing it like that, where we have to wait a long time for any change to take place within the Senate, our system is set up where we vote for a third of the senators every 2 years. And so usually you'll have on average, about 33, 34, 35 senators who are going to be up for re-election every 2 years. So the next election that's going to take place, we just had one in 2020. So the next one will obviously be in 2022. And if we look at the map here, in 2022, the states that are colored in, that's where we're going to be having elections. And we can see here on this map that Indiana, one of our senators, will be up for re-election that year. Okay, so pretty big deal. Now, in total, there are 100 different members within the Senate. Each state gets 2. It doesn't matter if you have 50 million people or 5,000 people, you get 2 per state. And those 2 senators are supposed to represent the whole state. That's very different with the House of Representatives, where your representative only represents your district. So your representative in the House, Greg Pence, he only represents one of the districts out of the 9 in Indiana. Whereas our senators, they do not represent a district, they represent the whole state. And the 2 senators for Indiana at the time of this video is Mike Braun on the left and Todd Young there on the right. So we've already discussed the 3 requirements, or 3 main requirements to be a United States Senator, but I want to cover them again here just for the sake of making sure that we have this down in our notes. So the first requirement, it's an age requirement. You have to be at least 30 years old to serve in the United States Senate, different than the U.S. House of Representatives, when in the House you only have to be 25. The reason for this age difference is that the Senate is supposed to be a quote-unquote higher place of wisdom. At the time of the writing the Constitution, 30 was pretty old. And so being older, you were expected, or you were seen as more wise. You have more life experiences. So along with being 30 years old, you have to have been a citizen of the United States for at least 9 years. Okay, again, higher than the House, where in the House it's only 7. And the final requirement is you have to be a resident of the state that you're going to represent. And we've already discussed why that is. It makes no sense for you to represent Indiana if you live in California, because, you just want to know the issues that Indiana is going through. You want to know the culture, the people, that sort of thing. So originally, senators were not elected by you and I, the people. Originally, they were chosen by your state legislatures. That will obviously eventually change, because today the people, we do vote for our senators, and we can thank the 17th Amendment for that. Along or similar to the House of Representatives, senators have no term limits. So again, you could turn 30 years old, boom, you could be a senator until you are 80. And you have a pretty good chance of doing that. Our guy Todd Young, he is up for re-election in 2022, and he has roughly a 95% chance of being re-elected. Similar to the House, once you're in, basically you're in. Okay. The major powers that exist within the Senate, obviously, it's a body of lawmaking, but specifically the powers that are given to the Senate and not to the House of Representatives, there are three that we need to know. And those three, we have the power to try all impeachments. If the House, were to say impeach the president, that doesn't automatically mean that the president is no longer president, because then the trial is taken to the Senate, and the Senate will decide whether or not that person is guilty or not. The Senate also has the power to ratify treaties, and lastly, approve any appointments. Now, this is going to be kind of nerdy, but I found this great Star Wars clip that kind of has to do with the idea of trying impeachments. So we're going to watch it really quick just for fun. Give me 1 second. Okay. Maybe. Oh my. Now I feel like an old man because I can't get this to work. Okay. Here we go. Hopefully you enjoy this.
Master Windu. I take it General Grievous has been destroyed then. I must say you're here sooner than expected.
In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you are under arrest, Chancellor.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?
The Senate will decide your fate.
I am the Senate.
Not yet.
And there we heard it. He just said, the Senate will decide your fate. And that's kind of the idea. I remember the first time the President Trump was impeached, people were like, oh my God, he's no longer president. That's not how it works. Okay, it's a two-step process. And I am bewildered that so many people within the American public do not understand that. Okay. All right, the last thing that we need to understand for basic information with the Senate, and this is different from the House of Representatives, because within the House, they operate by very formal rules because you have 435 lawmakers who are all trying to get things done. Within the Senate, because we only have 100 members, we have a lot more flexibility in terms of rules, rules that exist within the Senate itself. And specifically what we're going to focus on later in our notes is the fact that there is unlimited debates on bills. Again, very different from the House, where the House is strictly limited in the amount of time that we have to debate on bills. The Senate, remember, it's supposed to be a place of more wisdom and higher thinking. And because of that, we're going to allow for unlimited debate on bills. Before we move on, the last thing I want to hit on is the current makeup of the Senate, because this is going to play into our next slide when we look at the leadership within the Senate. So right now, the Senate is split, basically 50-50. Right now, there are currently 50 Republicans within the Senate. There are 48 Democrats, and then there are 2 independents. However, those 2 independents vote alongside the Democrat lines. I don't know the 2 specifically. I do know one of them is Bernie Sanders, so that just kind of gives you an idea of who they are. All right, so let's next look at the Senate leadership. So the leadership within the Senate, it's going to really be basically almost the exact same as the House of Representatives, with a couple minor changes. The first thing is within the Senate, there is no Speaker of the Senate. Okay, rather the person who controls the Senate floor is the Vice President. The Vice President is seen as the President of the Senate. And they have a couple different duties. They are in charge of recognizing members to speak when we are debating and things of that nature. They are in charge of putting bills to vote. And we've already looked at this when we did our primary source analysis. But the Vice President, they do not vote unless there is a tie within the Senate. Think about it for a second. our current vice president is Kamala Harris. The Senate is split 50-50. And so naturally, there will probably be ties within the next 2 years on certain bills. If that happens, Kamala Harris would step in, break that tie. Now, the vice president, in some circumstances, the right-hand man or woman to the president. And so if the vice president is unable to be at the Senate, there to oversee it and things of that nature, the president pro tempore will then preside. The president pro tempore is just simply the most senior or longest serving senator within the Senate. And if, again, the vice president can't be there, the president pro tempore, that's their job. Now, the most important officers within the Senate itself are the majority and minority leaders. And they have the same role as the House of Representatives. They are in charge of steering bills through the Senate. So as of right now, the minority leader within the Senate is, and you might recognize him, is Mitch McConnell, okay, a senator from Kentucky, a very, very, very big deal within the Republican Party. And on the other side of the aisle, the majority leader within the Senate, the quote-unquote spokesperson for the Democrats in the Senate, he's there on the left, Chuck Schumer, and he is standing next to the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Okay. All right, we're going to talk very shortly about the lawmaking process within the Senate, because eventually you're going to watch a video on one of the fundamental aspects of lawmaking within the Senate. The first thing, though, is that any senator within the Senate can propose legislation. Doesn't matter if you've been there for 50 years or 50 days. You as a senator, you have the right to propose legislation. That's why you are there. So if you propose legislation, it will then, similar to the House, be assigned to a committee, where that committee will have the job of studying, reviewing, and dissecting your proposed bill. Okay. However, unlike the House, there is no House Rules Committee. There's nothing like it within the Senate. Remember, the House Rules Committee, it was the quote-unquote final committee in the House, and it had the duty of deciding whether or not a bill would go forward or die. Okay. That does not exist to help control the flow of bills within the Senate. So rather, it's up to the Senate leadership to really, really control the flow of bills. Just like the House of Representatives, it only takes a simple majority to pass a bill in the Senate. Simple majority being 51 to 49. However, when we talked about our basic info within the Senate, we talked about the idea that there is unlimited debate. Or the Senate allows for unlimited debate. Now, as long as a senator is debating or talking, the Senate cannot vote on a bill. So you might think to yourself, wow, that's kind of weird. What if a lot of people wanted to vote on that bill? And there are steps to stop that person from talking. That person who is going to try to stop the voting of a bill, they are conducting what is known as a filibuster. It is where you simply talk the bill to death. Now you can see here on your screen for our sixth bullet point, it says, however, most bills need 60 votes because of the filibuster. And that is because, and think about this for a second, in order to stop or to end a filibuster, you need at least 60 senators to agree to stop the filibuster so we can vote on a bill. But it only takes a simple majority to then pass said bill. And the next thing you're going to do for the notes for today is watch a video looking at the filibuster and the history of it within the United States Senate. Alright, you guys, that was the organization and structure of the Senate in just under 15 minutes. We covered a lot of different things. We looked at the basic info of the Senate leadership, and then also briefly the lawmaking process that also exists. Like always, if you have questions, comments, concerns, you don't understand something from the video or from your assignment today, feel free to either leave a comment below, or even easier, you can just send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Until next time, I'll see you later.